Welcome back to another reading and correcting with me, Kinder, the Tiger Writes, and Ty, the Tiger Supervisor. These are where I read a chapter from one of my stories and correct it as I go. If you want to listen to them live, it's every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time on Twitch. If you want to support me, that is on my Patreon. Today we are doing chapter 9 of Feeling the Way. I picked up on the tail as soon as I set foot on King Street, south of Herb. The guy wasn't trying very hard. Bulldog under 6 feet, but stocky. Dressed for the weather, which meant I couldn't see if he was armed. I picked up on the second guy a few minutes later when the two exchanged a look. Horse a head taller than the bulldog. Lean, but he walked like someone who knew how to fight. We have a walk. Learn how to fight and you'll be able to see it too. The third and fourth were tougher to find in the crowd, but my initial two kept glancing ahead of us. Ahead of get kept glancing ahead of them. Yeah, I don't like it, but ahead of them of us. It's easier to pick up someone following you than someone waiting to ambush you. Yeah, it's easier to someone that's pick up pick out someone following you than someone waiting to ambush you, but I've been attacked so often at this point, I've had to learn. There we go. My family has enemies, and they don't all respect our strength. Alex brought in a CIA guy to teach us the basic when I was 20, right after a kidnapping attempt. So the cheetah and bull eventually made themselves stand out by how much attention they were giving me. I saw all the glances and all that in glances and reflection. Never look directly at the people who follow you. One of the first thing he taught us. The other was control the terrain. The odds were good. The odds were they knew the city better than I did. If I gave them the time, they might herd me to an area that advantaged them. What I had was knowledge of how I fought, the kind of places that supported that. The kind of place. Oh, I see. The places that supported that. Considering how I got the last time I fought, you might think I prefer long-range fighting. I don't. For one thing, guns are deadly. It takes a little miscalculation to turn a disabling shot into a killing one. I do know how to shoot. I have Alex's gift for it, but with it come the need to solve problems with a gun. So I stay away. From them if I can. Also, if I'm shooting a gun, so are my opponents. Firing at one another isn't particularly strenuous, so not to my advantage. If I'm going to fight, I want it to be hand-to-hand, close combat, tight spaces governed by the environment. Alleys are good for that. I like hand-to-hand because it tires out my opponent while I don't, at least not in normal. At least not for normal fights. I've yet to fight anyone other than Wolfgang who kept. Wait. I'm going to fight. I've yet to fight anyone other than Yeah, that's at this point. This is commentary, so who keeps a fight going long enough for me to get tired. Since I didn't know the area's layout and Google wasn't good about giving size of the alley sizes, I picked the first one that felt narrow enough. It was still maybe 10. It was still 10. It was still 10 feet, closer to 9 wide. 10, closer to 9 feet wide. But these get. Wait. Wyatt speaks metric. So it was around 3 meters wide. It was around 3 meters wide, but these guys didn't want to kill me. Oh, yeah, I knew who sent them. MacDonald wanted me to understand he wasn't happy. My family supported the cardboard. No, there are there are plenty of other people who could want to hurt me, but none of them knew where I was. Had these guys had found me, I'd chalk up to access to the city camera and my own carelessness. To make sure they followed me, I didn't duck in the alley. I ran for it. Alleys are alleys the world over, not places you hide in, unlike what movies tell you. There might be a dumpster, which there wasn't, but those are obvious. Sometimes the buildings weren't perfectly lined up, and you got nooks to duck in before your pursuer turned into the alley. This one didn't. This alley was clean and straight, which was fine. I wasn't trying to get away. I stopped and turned to wait. The first to reach the alley were the bull and cheetah. He was muscular for a cheetah. Every one of them I knew was on the lean side, which meant you were completely surprised when they kicked your ass. Yours, not mine. Only one cheetah kicks mine, but that's because I let him. Don't tell him that. They froze, surprised to see me waiting. The bulldog and horse joined them a few seconds later. They blocked the mouth of the alley. Considering my reaction the last time, you'd think I wouldn't want to fight. I don't like them, that's for sure. But I'm an Orr. We never run from a fight we can win. And those fours don't stand it. Some you'd think I wouldn't want to fight. Don't like them, for sure, but I'm an Orr. We never run out of a fight. These four didn't. Yeah, didn't. These four didn't stand a chance. Still, it would be nice if it could be avoided. I have no idea what you're being paid, but it isn't worth the beating you're about to get, I said. Walk away now. The bull and horse stepped forward, leaving the other two to guard the alley. 2 against 1. This would be over quickly. I ran, and the horse moved ahead of the bull, eager to intercept me. I smiled. You want me first? Too bad. I jumped up and sideways at the wall, kicked off to gain more height, and landed behind him. I'm not in the business of making people who attack me happy. I elbowed the bull in the face, staggering back, but he kept his footing. He dodged and punched. I blocked. He was strong, but I was stronger. Also more aware. I ducked the horse's kick, shoved the bull away, turned to block the horse's punch, also strong. I returned a series of punch, jabs, and kicks that he dodged and blocked. This guy was better than I expected a thug to be. This might be fun. I pressed the attack. He backed away until I miscalculated, and he went on the offensive. He was pretty good. I blocked more hits than I took, but I also picked up his rhythm, his style. I didn't know it. Unlike Arnold, I have not cataloged all fighting styles. When he made a mistake, I took back the offensive. I slipped more hits through his defenses, and he felt them, wincing and tensing in anticipation of the next blow. Tensing in a fight was never a good tactic, nor was getting distracted by the thing he pulled from his sleeve. I went on the defensive, expecting a knife. I saw something the size of a playing card with squiggle on it. Then darkness leaped off it and onto my face. Magic. I tried to pull it off, but my fingers felt nothing there. Felt nothing. Then the punch hit me in the face, and I was fighting to keep my footing. Another one, and again. I heard the scraping of feet at my side and sidestepped that, feeling something catch my jeans too close to my knee for my liking. They weren't going to kill me, but they were intending to make me hurt. Yeah, that feels. They weren't going to kill me, but they were going to make. They were going to make this painful. Feels more like him. They were going to make this painful. My back pressed against the wall, and I took the hits, protecting my face. How long was the darkness going to last? I could take a lot of punishment, but I had limits, and there were 4 of them. My brother, Winfred, is a brute of a man. Looking at him, he's a wall of muscle, and that's without Uncle Dietrich's gift. But you never hear him move. He is quiet. You think that's his ability, but that's the result of his ability. What he's got is super acute hearing. He can hear a pin drop on the other side of his house. That's not an exaggeration. Well, not much of one. His house is pretty large. He can tune it down somewhat, but not entirely. So he's careful about making sounds lest he drives himself insane. I don't need to whip them. He sleeps in a soundproof room. I have a lower tier version of his gift, so I can tune it down to the point I barely notice it. And since it doesn't drive me insane, I've spent time learning how to use it, like to tell where people are. Learning how to use it, you know what? I don't need that. To tell where people are. It's not echolocation, but it's the next best thing for me. It's not the fist moving through the air, that makes no sounds to speak of. It's the rustling of the jacket that tells me the punch is coming. That told, actually, yeah, this is. That told me the punch was coming. The guy's heavy breathing told me where he was in relation to the fist. I know I've read through that. Like I'm surprised that I missed those two in relation to the fist. So when I divert the blow, then raise my elbow. When I diverted the blow and raised my elbow in his face, he never expected it. I just grazed him, but he backed away. Surprised. They all do, and that's their big mistake. They should overwhelm me with blow instead of becoming cautious. One of them might suspect I was more than normal, but that's not certain. The darkness could be because I was getting the upper hand. The fact he wasn't. Using more magic told me the others didn't know about it. I stepped away from the wall to give myself space, smiled, and raised my fist. Who's first? I said. The scraping of boots, someone approaching, stopping out of punching range, another scraping, a pivot. Air through an open jacket. I raised my arm to intercept the foot, caught it. Before he could pull back and twisted hard. I didn't hear. Bones break, but the guy landed on the ground, whimpering. Tripping to the left, quick step, rustling of a sleeve against a shirt. I step back, not enough. The fist clipped the end of my muzzle, but I punched. Punched him in the side as hard as I could. I felt Ribs break before he moved away. I heard him crash down as I straightened. His breathing labored. Two left, but only the sound of one set of boots keeping the distances. Where's the third guy? The punch connected. Jeez. With my side and I struck. In that direction. In that direction, air. A faint scraping of stone against stone stopped in the middle. Stopped in mid sound as he realized he made it and that I was listening for it. The punch hit in my other side and my fist went through air where the head should have been. It's not it wasn't. It wasn't magic, so misdirection. The hits were real enough. So he was there. I relaxed. Readied myself for the next punch. I didn't hear it at all. I switch in paragraph. It always amazes me how I do this. I lose track of tense, especially in first person. I'm really bad in first person. I didn't hear it at all, but it connected with my stomach, my feet. My feet went up fast, went up as fast as and as hard as I could. You know what? Went up hard and fast. Let's keep the hard and fast. It connected with something, then was directed up a little more before making a solid impact. The guy lifted up as I lowered my leg. Lifted up. As I lowered my leg, he crashed down. As I lowered the guy lifted up. The guy lifted. Yeah, I guess lifted. You can't really lift something down. As I lowered my leg, he crashed down. My sight returned to the horse in a ball, hands on his crotch. I winced. I wince in sympathetic pain. That definitely hurts. That definitely hurt. I straightened, looked at the fourth man over my shoulder, the bulldog, and smiled. Showing teeth. He stared at me, trying to muster what little courage he had left. I turned to face him and raised my hand, tensed and extended my claws. He took off. I sheathed them. I doubt he was going to look for a cop to report me for showing claws. I looked at the whimpering man and started by searching the horse. If he was from the faction I suspected, he should have a box on him. I found it, but dismissed it. First, because it wasn't what I thought of when I thought box. But then I found the card he showed me, playing card size with writing on them. I couldn't decipher, but they looked like kanji. I flipped it over and looked at the back of a playing card, one of those semi-generic red swirled pattern. That meant I took the deck of cards from his pocket and opened it. A bunch of red backs. When I shook cards out and turned them over, more kanji. I put them back with a sigh. Close the pack. Come back with a sigh. Close the pack. Closed the pack and pocketed it. Either MacDonald had contact with the 10 knives, which happened. We weren't as insular as when the great church had a gun to our collective heads, or this was a mercenary using his magic as an added skill to his repertoire. It didn't matter unless I made a big deal of it, which I didn't intend to. I stood. So, which one of them was in charge? None of them had the look. I pulled the bull to a seated position. He stifled a scream as his leg jostled. The angle didn't look good. The angle on it didn't look good, but I forced myself to ignore it. I shook him. I need you to deliver a message. He whined, eyes on his leg. The best way to get him to pay attention to me was to hurt him again, but I couldn't do that. Even defending myself, I'd be paying for it later. Just contemplating hurting him on purpose didn't sit well with me. Look, I can't do anything for your leg right now, but as soon as I'm gone, I'll call 911 and get an ambulance here. But before I do, I need you to listen to me, okay? The calm in my voice got through him the way the harshness wouldn't. He didn't. Actually, yeah, okay, he was hard. The harshness hadn't. I forced myself not to look away from the pain on his face. I need you to tell MacDonald he screwed up. I don't. He stopped as pain surged. If that isn't who told you to attack me, tell if that isn't, give them the message and tell them to pass it along. MacDonald's behind this, so tell him he screwed up. Tell him he screwed up. I was happy to leave and forget about our conversation. This ensures I'm never going to forget. I'm not going to tell my fathers, so he doesn't have to worry about my family coming down on him. I'll be dealing with this myself when he least expects it. Can you tell him that? The bull nodded. I turned to the horse. As much as I wanted to leave, I couldn't do that without letting him know what I was going to do. I could get away with a lot within the society. We all played by the same overall rulebook. But when dealing with other factions, I had to be more careful. For one thing, I didn't know what the rulebook said. What I did know was that for a 10-knife member, their box was sacred. Yeah. Yeah, I never really worked out what to call them. What I did know was that for a 10-knife member, their box was sacred. For one of them to lose it was tantamount to dying. If I destroyed it, I'd destroy him. But I had no idea what the reprisal would be. Why are you highlighting that? Yeah. I crouched next to him. Hey, knife. He heard me, moved his head slightly, but didn't acknowledge me. I took the deck and tapped it on the ground before his eyes. You're going to want to pay attention. His eyes widened and he reached. But I took it away. I had his attention now. I need to know if you were hired directly to work with them or if you're just part of the group. Part of? He croaked. Do you know who I am? He shook his head. My name is Wyatt Orr. He shrugged. That was an odd feeling, not being recognized. My family's infamy was wide enough that any time I said or within the magical community, I got a reaction. Maybe I traveled too high within those group. Not being recognized was nice, although it complicated this, since I had no way to know if he was going to take me seriously. I'm keeping this, I said. No! The terror was lessened by the groan that cut it off as he tried to reach for me. I swallowed. The guy had attacked me. He deserved this. Fuck! I put the deck in a pocket and took a pen out. I pushed energy into it into it to turn the stasis phrase off on the cartridge and took his hand. He fought me but had little strength. I'm going to heal you, so stop fighting. He relaxed, but the weariness didn't leave his. The weariness didn't leave his eyes. I traced the medium healing sigil and considered him. Even if I could get him to power this thing himself, and since he was magical, there was a chance it could work. I have 2 even here. I'd like to change that. Even if I know why I've got the even, I didn't expect him to let me kiss me. Even if I could get him to power this thing himself, and since he was the magical, it could work. You know what? I don't need this. And since he was magical, there was a chance it could work. I didn't expect him to let me kiss him, or that it would be as much of a turn on as it is for us. I focused on the sigil and pushed power into it. More than it normally took. Wait, did I switch? Okay. Our magic is based on life force, vitality, and lust. Everyone had that. This is a place where I should have been present. Everyone has that, and everyone even has enough that if they are horny enough, that and what? Everyone has that. Everyone has that. And everyone has that. And if they are horny enough, they can power simple sigils themselves. I really wish the orgy phrase fell into that category. But for more powerful things, we have to provide the power, and that runs into the problem that everyone has their individual life force. The part that everyone has their individual force field. Think those old Star Trek movies. If you don't know them, go watch them. So I either need to get them to lower that or punch through them. Making a guy horny puts me on the same wavelength. So the energy lets the energy flow. That won't work here. But, that won't work. He sighed as the pain lessened. You guys still have a group in Flint? He looked at me suspiciously before nodding. I'm going to drop this off with them. I patted my pocket. Don't be there when I do. You can pick it up after I left the city. Are we clear? Dale, I don't care. I cut him off. I didn't want to know what they might do. I'd heard plenty of stories, based on the fact the knives originated in China and Japan, about what they did to people who failed. But I was reminding myself pretty hard that most stories told about my family were outright lies. So those could be too. You attacked me. By my family's habit, that means I can do pretty much anything I want to you. So count yourself lucky you picked on the nice one, and this is all I do. I'm going to call an ambulance once I'm out of the alley. If you don't want to be here when they arrive, you should start moving now. I head for the alley's mouth and call 911. I gave them the address. I gave them the address because even if it was illegal to do so, I was not giving them access to my GPS location because I knew the kind of apps that could be slipped in at the same time. I had way too many Slicer's acquaintance to ever trust the government with my phone. With that done, I headed to the hotel, checked out, and headed west. I was not having the coming breakdown in this country. And that concludes Chapter 9 of Feeling the Way. If you are enjoying this, please leave a like. If you want to know when the next one is going to be up, subscribe and hit the bell. If you want to read the rest of the story, you'll have to do that on my Patreon. Even with only paying $1, you can get access to everything I've written about this and way more. If you want to listen to these live, it's every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time on Twitch. The links are in the notes, and with that, I shall wish you a good day.